YouTube is messing with my live. All right, guys. I promise. I'm so sorry, but it's part of technology. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about getting your reptile business started, things that you should look for, things that you should avoid, and then at the end, I want to answer some of your questions. Let me close this because I was pretending like I was doing something, but it didn't turn out because, you know, YouTube is being stupid. I don't want these geckos hopping out. But, so, recently I've been getting a lot of messages, you know, people asking me, what do you think is a good investment when it comes to the crested geckos? Do you think the lily whites are a good investment? Do you think I should start breeding reptiles? You know, I get all these messages all the time, and my answer is always the same. If you are getting into breeding reptiles for the money, stop what you're doing right now, stop watching my video, and go do something else for money. This is not the best way to make money. I'll be the first to tell you that right now. I think people see some of the bigger breeders, and I'm not included in that. So I think some people see some of the bigger breeders and they think that they see the final product. They don't see all the years of work and dedication and all the behind the scenes stuff that it takes to get there. They think that it's as easy as buying a $1,000 gecko, breeding it, and selling $1,000 babies. It's not like that at all. There's a lot of things that you got to take into consideration. So I just wanted to give this as a kind of like a heads up to those people. And maybe if you're thinking about starting a business, a reptile business, you know, we could talk a little bit. I can answer your questions and I could give you some pointers. Now, my number one thing that I tell people that are looking to start a business, and I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not some guru. I'm 25 years old. I'm just getting started. I'm a blue belt in this reptile business game, but I have learned some stuff and I have seen a lot of stuff, a lot of experiences that I have had and a lot of experiences that I've seen people go through that I know not to do and what to do, so I could share with you guys. So the first thing I tell people is always to do it for the love of the hobby. Do it for the love of the animals. If you go into this with the money in mind first, it's not going to turn out well for you. You're going to end up losing a lot more money, and the animals are probably not going to do good. Now, when I first started, I didn't think about this as a business whatsoever. All my life, I wanted to work with animals. I knew that from the bottom of my heart. I knew that when I grew up, I wanted to work with animals. Now, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. Some people would tell me, yo, do you want to be a veterinarian? You should be a veterinarian because that's where the money is. But in my heart, I knew I didn't want to be a veterinarian. I didn't want to have to deal with all the sick animals, the dying animals. I personally didn't want to do that. If you do that, you know, hats off to you. But, so now, when I started keeping reptiles, when I came to the United States, I saw that people kept reptiles, and my uncle actually was a snake breeder, and he introduced me to like the reptile business, and he sent me a bearded dragon. That bearded dragon spiraled off into an obsession with all these animals, and that obsession, I saw that I could monetize the obsession, basically, and I said, you know, I'm going to do this as a hobby. If I lose money, I don't really care because it's what I love doing and I'm doing it anyways, but why not try to make some money out of it, right? So, when I did that, it took me years to start actually seeing the money come through, because I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of money buying animals, buying equipment, cages, racks, everything, and it takes a long time to, you know, start to see the profit of the business come in. Now, I was a kid when I started this. I'm still a kid, but some of you might be already older with an established business that you could take capital from, but that wasn't the case for me. So I had to start very slow. I never got a loan. This is all organic, thanks obviously to you guys that helped me achieve this dream and this passion that I have. But so if you once you do it and you know that you're doing it for the right reasons, I think you got to be very critical with yourself. You got to be very self-aware. If you know that you're doing this for the right reasons, meaning the passion of the animals because you enjoy the animals, you like working with the animals and all that, then I think you should go for it. Now, if you're doing this for the money aspect, like, oh, I see this guy's making me doing this guy's selling lily whites, he's making $1,000 a baby, that's the wrong, in my opinion, that's the wrong way of doing things. There are certain people out there that could go and do that they could just see the money in it and go into it, make money out of it and get out. Some people could do that. Personally, I can't. I can't get involved in something I don't really like, but I know some people could do that. Now, one of the best pieces of advice I could give you guys that are looking to start up a reptile business is that when you have to learn how to keep the animals, obviously. So I wouldn't start off by getting 50 animals. Like, let's say you've never kept a gecko before. I wouldn't say get 50 geckos and then start, you know, your business just like that. I would say start off small. Maybe start off with a pair of adults that you're going to breed. See how the process is from breeding them, having them for a year, 2 years, 3 years, seeing how they do, how you're keeping them, how the maintenance is, raising the babies, growing those up. After you get a little taste of what it is, after you get your feet wet, then start adding a little bit more, very gradually. I've seen people come in big. They spend big money because they look at it as an investment. So they spend big money, they come in, they buy a whole bunch of stuff, and in a year, 2 years, 3 years, they're burnt out and they get out. Now, if you have experience with the animals, it's not the same as, like, if I could take care of a crested gecko, it's not the same me taking care of one crested gecko as me taking care of 600 crested geckos. Completely different, because there's a lot of things that you got to take in consideration when it comes to the business. The costs of keeping the animals, you want to keep your costs low, but at the same time you want to make sure that the animal is living the proper life. You know, you don't want to absolutely take away all, deprive the animal of its essential needs. So you want to look at the cost. You want to look at the amount of time it's going to take you, because you're not just going to have to take care of the animals. Now you're going to have to look to expand your business. You're going to look to do the social media work. Nowadays, everything moves with social media. I'll tell you this myself. Everything I do, basically, my sales are all organic. I barely do any paid advertisement because of my social media. So you're gonna have to put a lot of time and a lot of research into doing the social media, which that takes a lot of time and a lot of experience, a lot of years to learn. Another thing is you're going to have to, you might need to get some help, especially if you already have a job. You know, I was lucky enough to start this when I didn't have a job, and I have worked many jobs while I did this, but now I am solely focusing on this. But I'm at a point where I could do that. But in the beginning, it wasn't like that, because it takes your time and it's taking your money. But if you're looking at it that way, like I was saying in the beginning, you're going to see all the negatives instead of the positives. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure that you're doing your research. You have a clean image of, you always try to do the right thing, because business, in the short term, it's okay to screw people over, right? But in the long term, it's a very bad business to screw people over. What do I mean by that? Let's say I sell a gecko that I know is sick to somebody, okay? If I'm thinking short term and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna make these quick 50 bucks and maybe that person will find out, maybe they won't, whatever. That's short term thinking, and morally, obviously, it's wrong. But if you're thinking about it as a business point of view, right? If you sell a gecko that you know is sick to somebody and they have a bad experience, that bad experience is going to spread, and in the long run, that's going to cause damage to your business. Now, you shouldn't do this stuff because it's better to do good business than it. Like, you shouldn't sell a sick. You shouldn't sell a sick gecko, period, right? You shouldn't sell a sick animal, period. Not because it's bad business, but because it's morally wrong, right? But you got to think, everything you do, you got to think about it long term. Like, that's why I answer every single question on Instagram. I answer every single email, every single Facebook message, because I care about what everybody, at the same time, like, I care about what everybody, the experience everybody gets with me personally. This is not some big corporation that I am like, I have employees that don't care about their job and they're just like giving you bullshit answers. This is literally me at 2 a.m. answering your questions, telling you what you should do, what you should not do. And if you're not willing to do that, in my opinion, you might want to find something else that gives you that passion that you are willing to do that for. I'm rambling a little bit. I want to answer a couple of your questions, and then if something comes up, I'll play off of that. So let's do some questions.
All right. Well, going from the latest question back, someone asked, a gecko with a little kink in his tail, is that considered sick?
It depends. No, a little kink in the tail might be an injury, or it might be sometimes the parents, like the mom of the gecko, if it's later in the season, or if she's not having enough calcium when she lays the egg, that could affect the baby, and they might have a squiggly tail or little kinks in the tail. But that could be fixed. That's not like, there's a difference between that and like selling a gecko that you know is like about to die. That gecko is gonna be healthy. It's like if you break your arm, you know, your arm, when it heals up, you know you're completely fine, but it's not like you have cancer or something. I don't know if that was the best example, but whatever.
Just sold him a broken gecko.
Yeah. The gecko is fine, it's healthy. Just make sure you feed the right nutrition.
Someone asked, what do you have to learn about social media?
A lot of stuff. There's nothing I can tell you in this short video that's gonna enlighten you, but I will say this. Social media is a monster. The power of social media is literally nobody ever in the history of humanity has had the ability that we have today in terms of reaching as many people as we can reach with just a click. So if you really concentrate on growing your social media, you have an audience. Like, for example, on Instagram, I just reached 43,000 followers. I'm not saying this to brag, but it's kind of like I have those 43,000 people that I could, you know, show myself to, show my products to, or help, or, you know, I could reach those people and I don't have to pay for that advertisement. Before, in the past, if you want to reach 43,000 people, you're going to have to pay a lot of money for it. Now you could steadily grow that by yourself. Another thing I want to tell you about social media is that it takes a long time. Some people it doesn't. Some people it doesn't. I have a friend who went from 1,000 followers to 1 million followers on Instagram in about 8 months. But that's different. Not everybody. There's a little bit of luck. There's a little bit of personality. There's a lot of things that play into making that perfect, like, social media star. Now, anybody can grow their social media to a certain point, but it takes a lot of time. It takes consistency is the best thing I could tell you, and quality content. This may not be the best visually or sound hearing. This may not be the best video in terms of quality, but what counts is the content I'm giving you. That content is quality. The content I post on Instagram, the pictures are quality. I post quality information on there sometimes. The do not disturb thing on the iPhone does not work, I swear to God. Anyways, so post quality, be consistent, and do your research. There's a lot of little tricks and things that you could do to maximize potential. And I just read a lot of books.
Right, someone asked, when do you expect to have some more lily whites for sale?
Oh, I have a bunch. I have a bunch of babies. I'm going to show you guys right now.
Someone asked, while you're getting that... Oh, wait, so do you know when you're going to have them available?
Well, I think I have like 5 available on the website right now. I do have some other ones. They're a little younger. I mean, because they were all born this month pretty much, or last month. But so just message me or email me if you want to see them, if you're serious about them. But I have them right there, literally. Well, they'll be all posted soon. I don't know if I'm actually, the ones that are posted right now are gonna stay posted, but we have a big show here in Florida, Daytona, the biggest reptile show in Florida, and I want to take a bunch of lily whites to that show, so I don't know if I'm gonna keep posting new ones.
Someone asked, tips to get more page likes on my Facebook business page.
Okay, so Facebook is a funny thing, because when I started, Facebook was like, the Facebook pages thing was getting bigger, it was growing, but now, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the Facebook, the people who are on Facebook are a little older than like most people now I find that are on Instagram. But how I grew my Facebook page was basically posting quality content, posting really high definition pictures. I always tell you guys, if you're looking to get this business going, invest in a high quality camera. That is your iPhone pictures are not gonna cut it. Even though they're pretty good actually, but your you know, your little $100 camera pictures are not gonna cut it. Try to get a DLSR. Try to take, you know, learn a little bit about how to use it. I'm not a photographer expert, whatever, but a little bit of information and a good quality camera can go a long way. So invest in the pictures, because everything is very visual. You know, people see something, a good quality picture, an amazing animal. That's another thing. You got to have really nice quality animals, because that's what attracts people. Like, I may buy an animal that's $1,000. Not necessarily, and I may post it a lot, not necessarily because I want to sell it, but because I know that animal is going to get me attention. Attention is the name of the game when it comes to social media. When you post that high quality animal, and then why are you posting it if you're not going to sell it? Because it brings more people, it brings more eyes on my page, more eyes that will look at my animal, and then they'll go like, oh, maybe I'm going to look at some of their other animals, and then maybe they go see what's for sale on my website.
What should I be feeding my bearded dragon?
Feed your bearded dragon greens and insects. So the greens, turnip greens, collard greens, kale is okay. Not too much kale, but some of like the romaine lettuce, carrots. They could eat apples, but mostly greens, and feed insects a lot too, like crickets, gut-loaded crickets, roaches, super worms, mealworms. The staples for the insects are roaches and crickets. Also, Rapashi grub pie is good for the bearded dragons. Veggie burger from Rapashi is good. That guy's going nuts on there.
Oh? He's gone.
He stopped.
Yeah. Do you know when more chameleon shirts will be available?
Alright, chameleon shirts. I have like 2 chameleon shirts left. They're medium size. If you are a medium, I will send you that shirt for free if you pay the shipping. But I'm not gonna print chameleon shirts again. Not that. I mean, I might make another design, but those are 2 last chameleon shirts.
Also, what should I be doing if my gecko's clutch mate is way smaller than the other?
You should do so what was it? If it hatched early and it's smaller or something, you should just take care of it as you would any other gecko, honestly. I just make sure you're feeding the proper nutrition, you know, Rapashi. If you're feeding a lot of insects, it's going to help it grow a lot better. So just do exactly what you're doing with all your other geckos, and it will grow. Maybe it won't get to a bigger size, maybe it won't reach like 50 grams or something, but it'll still live a happy life.
What size male should I get for my 2 females? About to breed, first time, any advice?
Yeah, so make sure that your females are at least 40 grams, preferably 45 grams, 50 grams. The male can be as small as 35 grams, but you gotta just watch them. My advice is watch them when you pair them up together in a neutral cage. Make sure that you're watching them like every night. Just make sure they're not like bullying each other too much. Now, some nipping and stuff is normal with breeding for lizards, but just pay close attention to them so they don't get hurt.
How do you know the sex of a Senegal chameleon?
A what?
A Senegal chameleon?
I don't know what that is.
Bearded dragon tips?
In terms of what?
I don't even know. I don't know.
Bearded dragon tips?
Clean the cage.
What's a bearded dragon tip? Like, what's something?
I don't know.
Go, next question.
How long do you leave the female and male together while breeding?
I'm assuming you're talking about crested geckos because that's mostly what I do, or gargoyle geckos. Forever. Until they die. Just watch them. You just gotta watch them. But they'll slow down. They'll stop breeding when the female will stop laying eggs when she's done. Just make sure the nutrition is on point and you don't have to separate them. I used to separate them before. Now I don't separate the geckos unless I'm switching animals, pairs.
What's the best substrate for cresties?
The best substrate, this, the brown paper. No, so the best substrate would be, let's say you want a naturalistic looking enclosure, I would say sphagnum moss. I love sphagnum moss. If you want like cheaper setup, this is still good. You could use paper towels or yeah, paper towels.
How do you know what morphs of cresteds to breed together?
You don't know. There is no rules. You could do whatever you want. You could breed whatever you want. There's nobody telling you you shouldn't breed this or that. I personally like to breed the same morph for the most part. The same morph together. Like let's say I have a pinstripe and I have a pinstripe. I want to breed those two together so I can make better looking pinstripes. Because if I breed a pinstripe to a Dalmatian, patternless Dalmatian, I'm going to get like in between geckos that aren't as nice as either parent. So I rather bring pinstripe to pinstripe so I get the best looking pinstripes. If I breed Dalmatian to Dalmatian, I'll have babies that have the more Dalmatian spots.
What are your thoughts on the piebald crested geckos?
My thoughts are that it's an incredible gecko. From everything I know, and obviously if it was already proven and replicated, it would have been out by now. So it was a one-off, but it's an awesome looking gecko. And that's one of the animals, like I was saying earlier, that maybe you're not willing to sell a really nice gecko, but you're willing to show it off so much to get the attention. That's exactly what they did. They have this piebald crested gecko they spent a lot of money on, and this gecko, they post it and they advertise it, not because they have something like that for sale, but because it gives them attention and it helps their business grow. But anyways, but it's an awesome gecko.
Can we see some creamsicle cresties?
Yes.
Tips for juvenile bearded dragon?
Yeah, juvenile bearded dragons always feed more insects than vegetable matter. Try out the Rapashi grub pie. It's really, like, the dragons love it. I think this is it.
Someone called U-Board said, what's up, David? Couldn't be happier with my Harley. It's Angel from Orlando, by the way.
Oh, what's up, brother? Hey, man. Thank you for your order. I remember, I think I shipped that out like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Angel, brother. If you have anything else that you need, let me know. Here are some creamsicles. Well, they're not See, remember I told you I'm a gecko ninja? Anyways, this guy's a creamsicle. She's about to jump, and I caught her. So when he fires up, he has like a really tangerine base, and then the cream on his back and on his laterals, but they're really looking really shitty right now, guys. So, but this is like a creamsicle group. She's more of like a hypo-ish coloration because she has like no dark pigment. I'm not saying it's hypo, but you know.
Someone asked, can you house a Lychee's pair in the same cage?
A what?
house a Leeches pair in the same cage?
Well, yeah, that's how you breed them. A pair of leeches, yeah. But
They just asked if you can house them.
Oh.
Oh. Gecko on the loose.
All right. I got it.
Oh my god.
No.
She pooped?
No. She's
Oh, okay. Someone said stop overcharging, you punk.
All right. That person. What's his name?
D's. Oh my god.
These nuts.
These nuts. Oh wait.
All right. These nuts. What's up, brother? How am I overcharging? Please tell me.
Someone asked.
And by the way, I guarantee you, if you were in presence right here, and you said that to my, you wouldn't say that to my face, but if you did, I'd smack you and you wouldn't do anything about it. Tell me what he says.
Anyway, he hasn't responded yet. But
Next question.
you want to ask? Yeah. Okay.
Yo, guys, yo, you don't know, but I'm a. Never mind. Just go. Fired up. Hold on.
Can you keep them long term in the same enclosure, not just when breeding? And this is referring to the Leeches.
The leeches, yeah, but leeches are very. The leeches are like. Leeches are funny because if you keep a male and female together, they are gonna breed if they're compatible. Now, I've never heard of people keeping 2 female leeches in one enclosure, or 2 males, obviously. They're very territorial, so when you asked this earlier, I'm assuming that you were talking about a male and a female. If you keep a male and a female, if they want to breed, they're gonna breed, you know?
Can you please show Crested enclosure setups?
Sure.
And while you're looking for that, someone's asked, geckos taking falls and how to tell internal damage, geckos losing weight.
Okay. Yeah, let's do one at a time. Come on.
Okay.
This is how I set up this Crested enclosure. Again, because this is for the business, right? So I have a whole bunch of crumpled up paper here, places that she could hide. As you can see, she was hiding right there. I have some fake plants, I have some branches in here, and the food bowl down here. This is a very basic setup if you're looking if you're looking at this as a business. Now, the gecko here has everything it needs to feel like to feel secure and to live healthy. I mean, look at this animal. A gecko that's not happy or is not healthy isn't gonna look like this. Isn't gonna be this active, isn't gonna look this plump. Look at the tail, you know. So the animals, they don't, from everything I know, I may be wrong, but they don't seem to have a conscience, right? So they're not like, oh man, I really wish my enclosure was like that gecko's enclosure with the real live plants. Geckos don't think that, in my opinion. I may be wrong. Maybe some of you people think they do. Now, what they want is that there's no predators, that they have food, that their humidity is right, their temperatures are right, and they have enough places to feel secure. And all that is provided in that enclosure. Now, if you want to give them a more like a prettier looking enclosure, by the way, guys, look at how much crap. Like, this is why I'm looking for that new facility. It's too like cramped in here. But this is one of the enclosures I did in that video, in the how to set up your gecko's enclosure. I put the food bowl here. I have some moss in the bottom. I have a rock, some cork bark, some branches, fake plants, and the gecko's hiding. He's right here.
It's a hybrid plant.
This is this is Trigger. He's a hybrid. Let me show you guys a hybrid. This is a Chihuahua and a Crested gecko hybrid. Trigger. Let me show his eyes. When he fires up, he gets really dark red. Right now, he's kind of like a light orange with some like hues of like olive. When he fires up, he's really dark red. What's next? Did that pun come back?
No, he did not. He never responded.
Of course not.
Anyway, someone said, wait, oh, the person who had asked before, well, first, one person asked if geckos take a leap and falls, is it dangerous?
Okay, that one.
And someone else asked, like, gecko taking falls and how to tell internal damage.
Okay, so, I have never had a gecko have internal damage from jumping to the floor and landing. Never had it happen. Now, what I would assume, the way you would tell if that gecko has internal damage is if it's bloody, if it has bloody poop, if maybe it's not moving properly, if maybe when it moves or you grab it or if you're just like handling it and it tries to like it's sensitive in certain areas. Now, I have had geckos like this, babies and adults, this high, and they jump all the way down to the floor. They're fine. Obviously, you don't want that to happen all the time because you never know, but these guys are arboreal. What does that mean? They live in the trees, in the heights of the trees, and, well, actually, Dave Kaufman said they didn't go that high. He said they were kind of like in lower areas. So they're very clumsy. They jump all the time and they miss and they fall and they hit the ground. They're made to take that impact. When you see a gecko jump, they kind of flail themselves like this, and they open up their toes, their legs, and they're just hoping they could catch something with one of these toes or one of the legs. But if they don't, they fall all the time, and I've never had a problem from that.
Are you planning to work with any new species of arboreal geckos in the future?
Yes. The northern spiny-tailed gecko. I've had it in my eye for a long time. These are little geckos, gorgeous-looking geckos with little spikes on their tail. They come in like gray, blue, orange colors, and they're from Australia. They're really expensive, but I really want to work with them. So in the future, for sure, I'm going to work with those. I got some fantasticus, some satanic leaf-tailed geckos that I might keep to try to work with, and eventually I'm going to work with everything. When I have the big warehouse, I'm going to have everything, guys.
Show us some of your best crested hatchlings.
That'll be the lily whites. Let me show you. These are two lily whites. These are two lily whites that I'm thinking of keeping. Hold on, let me go into the light. Alright, so this is the first one. They're clutch mates. It's an extreme harlequin lily white. This is the first one. This is absolutely gorgeous. The lily whites in particular, as they get older, they have the craziest progression I have ever seen in crested geckos, period. The pattern and the colors just pop up like no other crested gecko I have ever seen. And I'm not saying that because I sell these guys, obviously. I'm like for real. You can look for progression shots of lily whites, and it's unlike any other gecko. This is the second one. They kind of look the same, honestly, but they're both gorgeous. Another extreme harlequin lily white. Look at that. Just gorgeous. These guys might be for sale. I'm not sure yet. I kind of want to keep them so bad, but I don't know. All right. Those are the two best hatchlings. Let's do like 4 more questions.
All right. Pomona show Cali. Pomona? I don't know.
Yeah, what's your question?
I don't know, it just says Pomona show Cali.
Oh, Pomona show Cali.
Pomona.
Yeah, I want to go next year. I'm going to do my best to go to that show. I won't be vending, but I'll go and I'll hang out. I want to meet some of the, you know, California breeders and all that. So I might go next year. I'm really hoping I can, but no promises.
What should I do if Crested Gecko hasn't shed and I've had him for around 3 weeks?
Don't worry about that. This is what you got to worry about. keeping the right humidity, keeping the right temperature, feeding the right food, and that's it. There's geckos here. 90% of the geckos I've never seen shed. They shed in 20 minutes, if that. They do it very quickly. It's at night, so don't worry about that. Make sure everything is fine, and that will take care of itself.
How can I get
geckos? Young geckos will shed once a month, maybe, and once they're adults, they'll shed once every couple months, maybe. So.
Someone asked, how can I get one of your Cresties?
You could go to our website. You know, you could go to our website. There's some geckos available there. If you have any specific, like if you want a particular morph, you could always message me or email me. And that's what you could. My website is tikisgeckos.com.
Someone asked, do you breed axanthic crested geckos? No. Like the ones Altitude Exotics have?
No, not at the moment.
Can a Cresties sexual maturity be delayed due to wrong housing and food?
Sexual maturity, yes. Well, yeah, it's not necessarily wrong housing and wrong food. It can be, yeah. These geckos will grow depending on how you keep them. So I could have a gecko that's this big, that will be 2 years old or a year old, right? And then I could also have a gecko this big that's a year old. One that weighs 10 grams, that's a year old, and one that weighs 35 grams, that's a year old. It just depends on how you keep them. If you want to know how to grow them quicker with the proper way, like doing it so the gecko's still healthy, go check out my other video. It's called like 3 tips on how to get your geckos to grow faster and bigger. It's on YouTube. Check it out. There's a lot of good information on there too. 2 more questions.
All right.
2 more questions.
Yeah. All right. So should I go from like where I was, or should I take the latest ones?
Whatever. Random.
All right. Someone asked if you could show lychees, or should I just take questions?
I mean, you really want to see a lychee? Here's one new Anna. She's pretty sweet, that's right. She's not fully grown, obviously, but this is a new Anna, Lycheeanis, giant gecko. She'll get maybe like twice the size, I think.
The guy who asked you to show the lychee is like, thank you so much, thank you.
No problem.
Heart emoji face.
What's another question?
All right. Well, one person said Mark Zuckerberg is a reptile. What are your opinions?
Mark Zuckerberg is a reptile. That's funny. I saw his video. It was on Facebook, and it was like, so they just like take clips of him, like, I guess he was talking about doing a barbecue in his house. So he's just like, barbecue, or what was he saying? He's like, smoke your meat. I don't know, it was so funny, it was so random. Yeah, but I don't know, man, that guy is funny. I don't think he's a reptile, I just think he's like some like nerd. I'm a nerd too, but whatever.
Someone asked if they could see the bearded dragon setup.
Yeah. I gotta get on this here. Oh, did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry, go.
Okay.
So that's Nala. That's my female. What's up, girl? Say hi. That's Nala, and this guy. He's always so curious about what we're doing. This is Pepito. He said, "Don't touch me." He doesn't like when I go in his ears. That's why I bearded dragon setups. How much time have we been on?
Like 39 minutes, so 40 minutes.
45. It's so far.
Okay, someone asked if you could give tips for a gigantic... What? Day gecko enclosure? A gigantic day gecko? I don't know.
Is it a scientific name?
I don't know. It's like... I don't know if that was a typo.
When will Despacito 2 come out? You guys are funny. What gigantic is? Wait, what was it?
Gigantic.
Giant day gecko enclosure. What did he ask? Tips?
Yeah, tips for their enclosure.
Keep it. If you live in Florida, actually here are my tips. Keep a 90-degree hot spot. Make sure they have a lot of space. They have thick bamboo sticks going horizontal and vertical. And give them, you know, some of the pre-made diets and lots of insects. Those are my tips. That's like a carrot sheet right there, like a quick carrot sheet. Take that.
Yogurt Abe asked if he could work for you.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
You live in South Florida?
The person who asked about the Kali Pomona show, like, left, so they wanted to know if you were going. And they didn't hear. Maybe.
I want to. I can't tell you yes, I don't know. I might die tomorrow.
Do you only keep in tubs, or do you keep leeches in glass enclosures?
I also keep them in glass. It just depends. You know, depends what I have available for them.
Yogurt Abe responded, "Yes, papi," in Hollywood. Okay. Can you show the prettiest?
I want to meet all you guys. You guys are, some people are like crazy.
Someone asked, can you show?
Sponsored by Fiji. Just
Someone showed, can you show the prettiest gargoyle geckos you've hatched so far?
If you would have watched my latest video, I showed it in that, so I know you're not keeping up to date with my videos. I'm kidding. But look, this is, I think this is, oh, he's about to shed. But this is the best gargoyle gecko. He's about to shed. But this is a Deadpool baby. It's a 6-stripe gargoyle gecko. But I'll show you another one that's not shedding. I know it doesn't look too impressive in this shitty lighting, but it is. Trust me. Know what I'm talking about.
Someone asked, do you like dart frogs? Have you had some?
I've never I love dart frogs. They're gorgeous. I've worked with them, but I've never had them personally. No. This is another Deadpool baby that I showed in that high definition video, the last one that I uploaded that you didn't watch, that you could watch right now after you watch this.
Can you keep ball pythons with Cresties in the same rack?
No. Okay. Oh, in the same rack, like this is a ball python that's a crested gecko.
I guess.
I'm gonna say no, because if I say yes, YouTube's gonna shut down. Hell's gonna fucking come up from the earth. So just no, just don't do it.
All right.
But yes, you can.
Here's a question to work up your brain thoughts. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yo, I saw that on Facebook the other day. Hot dogs are sandwiches, actually, because they have meat in the middle and they have bread on the outside. You're welcome.
What's the most underrated lizard that you have?
That's a great question. Next week, find out, because that's the next video I want to do.
Okay.
I'll give you a clue. It's a Cuban false chameleon.
That's not a clue.
Yeah, it's a Cuban false chameleon. That's a best lizard that nobody knows about, and that's the title to my next video coming out next week, maybe.
Does it matter what size the tub is for crested geckos?
Yeah, of course. Like, I wouldn't want to keep a, 50-gram gecko in something like this. I would keep more juveniles or babies in that size. Once you get to an adult or a bigger juvenile size, you could keep up in like one of these, like I showed you guys. So it just depends. It depends on the size of it. But let's say, okay, so here you go. For a juvenile or a sub-adult, you could keep in like a 20 quart. For a baby or a baby, like a 1 to 15-gram gecko, you could keep in like a, I think this is 6 quart. Not sure, but it's a shoebox size. And then these, I don't know if these still have a thing. I don't know. And this is a 30 quart for an adult.
Okay. Do you miss your crusty cages daily or more than once? Okay.
I don't don't miss my daily. I don't miss my crested geckos cages daily, and I'll tell you why. Because it depends on what kind of cage you have your crested gecko in. Also depends on the age of the crested gecko. For example, a baby crested gecko kept in a 10-gallon tank, you might have to miss daily, but not an adult, because babies require a little bit higher humidity than adults. Now in these tubs, it keeps the humidity a lot better. In a tub like this keeps the humidity a lot better than a 10-gallon tank. Okay? So it just depends on their enclosure. These little things we missed when we feed, so that's every other day. What? Why are you laughing about?
It's because it's the same person saying funny stuff, and he says, I don't like crusty geckos, I only like the normal ones. Someone says, Tiki, I don't need any more geckos, but is there any other way I can support your business? PayPal, Patreon. Really respect the effort you put into the hobby.
Listen, you want to support my business, and you don't want to buy a gecko or a shirt or some food for your geckos, that's fine. Just share my video and I'm happy. I'm not asking for free money. If you want to help me out, just tag a friend or something. That helps out because that just spreads, you know, my my business.
Okay, someone said.
But we do sell these awesome shirts.
Yeah. Why do you prefer to breed crested geckos rather than leopard geckos?
Is that a real question? Crested geckos are 10 times cool. That's why.
Okay.
I just like crested geckos more.
Best feeder insect other than dubia?
Crickets. Or biscuits.
Okay. Someone asked, Tiki, do you have...
I have this ball here. What the hell? I don't think the camera's going to catch it, but it's like a little ball. Guys, I think I have camera. I'm kidding. Alright, what else?
Okay. Blood clot. Oh, it's 47 minutes.
Alright, guys.
50 minutes. Okay, what is your favorite plastic plant for crested geckos?
Plastic ferns. Plastic ferns. Doesn't matter. But I like ferns.
Oh, wait. I kind of like this question. Did you see Deadpool 2?
Yes, I did. It was really good. But I did like the first movie better. And if you really want to see a good superhero movie, watch Avengers Infinity War. That one was the best.
Alright. Leave it at that?
Leave it at that. Thank you, guys. Watch my other videos. If you have other questions, feel free to message us. TikisGeckos.com, merch, gecko food, anything you need. If you want to support my business, you don't want to buy a gecko, but you want to buy food or merch, do that. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support, and I'm out.